Okay. So the sound should be back because it actually turns out that I'm stupid and I don't know how to do settings in OBS apparently. But it should be back now. It should be working. Um, yeah, because it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing that just happened and a bunch of self realization stuff. And OBS, it's not my strong suit sometimes. It's not. But I'm finally here to talk about the Samsung event and some other stuff. I don't know how much it picked up before the audio messed up again for the second time. Freedom Art said, I can hear you now. I can hear you in my head saying something ratchet about this whole stream. And I just want to let you know that this has been executed at the highest class possible. Thank you. Anyway, let's talk about the Samsung event. And we can't talk about it without starting with the Tom Brown edition Samsung Galaxy Fold 2 because we got to see what the price is going to be because it's like a whole collection. It's like a designer thing. It would also help if my audio wasn't messed up on my second scene too. But anyway, it's like a whole designer thing. And look, it's not even that badly priced. It's only $2,649.99. Hold on, that says with trade in. They just assume you're gonna trade in a phone. No, 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 no trade in. Okay, so it's 3,449.99 for the Tom Brown edition, which I guess aesthetically, if you like all this stuff, is worth it. I actually thought the Tom Brown edition was kind of ugly this year, but I'm not a designer, so I don't know. I don't dabble in the fashion world or whatever Tom Brown does. I don't dabble, so to each his own. But you can get it at this low price. It's limited edition. If you want to just have it, you get the phone, you get the watch, you get the stylus, and you get Galaxy Buds, and they're all super well designed. Like, come on, you get everything. It's just the best value. All right. So all joking aside, I had two audio inputs there. So all joking aside, it's actually a pretty cool phone. I'm not talking about the Tom Brown edition, but the Galaxy Fold in general. That's why I like talking about it every year, even though it's not like I probably wouldn't buy it because it's still out of my price range. But I'm glad Samsung's doing what they're doing by creating this phone because the foldable market, I do feel like there's a big opportunity there, and it's just kind of cool tech. Like they made a phone that folds, which was like the first generation. Like they barely made that phone. Like reviewers were breaking it and peeling off the screen and all kinds of crazy stuff, and then like realistically, that's not a phone that you would get and like actually use all the time. So this time they made a phone that you can actually use. So that's good. That's really good. The main difference this year is both the outside and the inside screen has the 120 hertz refresh rate, and then also they got the behind the display selfie camera for the inside screen. And I was actually going to talk about Xiaomi's new phone. I was thinking about talking about it in the stream, but then I watched the Samsung event and I was like, ooh, they kind of stole their thunder a little bit, maybe, because I was not expecting them to have the under display camera for the Galaxy Fold. But I really didn't look up anything about the Fold before I watched the event. I wanted to be surprised, and I was. Now, even in like their photos on their site, you can still kind of see, and some of them you can still see the hole punch camera. Like I mean, it's new technology. It's like first generation technology. They did a good job of hiding it, but it's still like noticeable in some of the shots. I'm trying to see if I can find a shot here where it's still like kind of noticeable. And then also I watched some other videos. Oh, this is a good shot. Why does this thing always mute itself? Anyway, this is a good example. Like, you can still kind of see it here, where it's like, yeah, it's kind of hidden, but you can still tell there's definitely a camera there. Like, it's still cool tech, but I don't know. I was expecting it to be a little bit more seamless, but it's cool they put it in the fold, and the fold is very low risk because it has two screens, and I have double audio here. Anyway, it has two screens, and then the outside screen has a selfie camera, and then also you can do the thing where you unfold it and use the regular camera as a selfie camera. So it's like, if the inside camera is kind of bad because it's like inside the phone, I mean, it's under the display, it doesn't really matter as much because, like, there's two other cameras that you can technically take selfies with, especially considering you can use the main camera for selfies. Like, it's kind of a good phone to experiment with. So it makes sense that they would do this for their first phone. I know I saw like a demo a few years ago. Like, obviously I was watching a video because I don't get to see stuff like this in person. But it was like the very, very, very first generation of this technology, and the selfie camera, like when you took a picture, looked way darker just because, the light has to pass through the screen now, and then of course it's just a lower resolution camera. Like, apparently the inside camera is like 4 megapixels and the regular selfie camera on the outside is like 10. So it's not like everyone's taking great pictures, but I think it's a trade-off that most people would be okay with, to have more screen, especially on a phone like this where it's like supposed to be all screen. Like, that's supposed to be the whole thing. So yeah, overall, I was kind of surprised. It wasn't as impressive like last year when you move from the first generation to the second generation. This is like a refinement, really, and I think that it's getting to the point where there's not going to be that many more leaps, because unless they like completely change the design and maybe do like an outside fold or a different kind of fold, it's probably not going to change that much going forward. But they did make both the screens high refresh rate, and they added S Pen support, as you can see in this picture, which I knew I was going to lose audio from switching over. But yeah, so they made an S Pen for this phone that has a rubber tip, so that way it doesn't like tear the screen, because I guess the screen's still super delicate. So it kind of makes sense, because they said earlier this year that they might not come out with a Note, and since they're probably not doing the Note this year, but they added S Pen support to like the Galaxy S21 Plus and then this phone, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, I don't know if it'll be like as precise, since this is like a rubber tip and it's also retractable. So that way, if you push down too hard, it goes inside. But yeah, I think this is kind of taking the place of the Note, at least for this year, possibly permanently. Because to me, like, when I first heard about the Note, like way back in the day, back when I still, had long flowing hair, it was kind of the phone they experimented with. Like, it was the big phone back when nobody was doing that. It was like a phablet, and everybody was like, the phone's too big. And then, of course, all phones got big. But it was kind of like that experimental phone. And to me, this kind of feels like what the Note used to feel like before it just became like a standard big phone. Like, they have the S21 Plus that's like the same size as the Note, and it now has S Pen support. I mean, the Note is the only phone that has like an area in the phone for the pen, but I mean, they can put a slot in a different phone. I don't think the Note really needs to exist anymore. But to me, this kind of takes the place of like that exciting phone that nobody is doing right now. That's kind of crazy. So I really like it so far. And also, they added water resistance. Like, this is almost a phone that people could realistically use if they weren't concerned about possibly breaking it and dropping it and completely destroying it. But this is like the first fold that I'm like, you know what? This might actually be a phone for people. Um, but yeah, other than that, there wasn't really much else at the event other than like the Z Flip, which They made the outside screen bigger. That's kind of the story with that phone. I don't know. The Z Flip is kind of cool. It's like their clamshell phone that folds into a full size phone, and that's less appealing to me personally, just because I'm like, this form factor to me is fine. Like if I get a folding phone, I definitely want a bigger phone. Folding this in half, yeah, it'd be all right, I guess, but I just want something that's like I'm gonna get like a huge benefit. Like I'm gonna have this huge screen when I open it up. But the Z Flip does start at 1,000 now, so that kind of puts it in the range of like your higher end Samsung phones or something like the iPhone Pro, like the smaller one, like this one. So at least it's not like overpriced. You're getting like that kind of phone, or you would be getting that kind of phone either way. Like if you spent $1,000, it's not like you're paying like 1,400 for a phone that's in beta like it was last year. Freedom Art says no one wants a flip phone in 2021. Yes, they do. A lot of people, they love flip phones. I mean, I have friends like my friend Dijon. He loves flip phones. He like he swears by them. So a lot of people do want flip phones, and a lot of people think they're cool. But yeah, they fixed one of the biggest complaints about the Z Folds, I guess, or the Z Flip, which was like the screen on the outside was small and now it's bigger. So that's pretty much it. Like, oh yeah, and the so that's starting off at 1,000, and then the Fold starts off at like 1,800. So still out of range, I'd say, for most people. Like I think once they get into like the $1,500 price range, that's more reasonable, because a lot of those big phones do get up to like 13, 14, 1,500. So I think it's still a little bit too expensive. I was hoping this would be the year that it was like reasonably priced so people would actually like buy it, but I still don't think it's gonna be a phone that people will buy. But maybe next year they can get it. The parts will be cheap enough where they'll actually lower the price significantly, like not too significantly, but maybe like $200 or $300 or something. So we'll have to see about that. But that's all I have to say about the Samsung event. Now, let's shift over to something that I've been fond of lately, which is gaming. And specifically, I want to talk about the Xbox Series X because I got one, I feel like it was like a month ago at least. I don't even remember when I got it, but I did the unboxing video, and usually I do my unboxing and then I'll wait like a week or two and I'll do like a first impressions. But I haven't, and that's because honestly I haven't really played it. Now, it's gonna sound bad because I know a lot of people are out here trying to get you know, trying to get their hands on one of those new Xboxes or just any new system in general. And I have both, and I'm just not playing. And I think it's because like as soon as I hooked it up and I saw that the interface was exactly the same as the Xbox One, like it just made it a little bit less exciting for me. Like I got the new system and I wanted a new experience, and then off the bat I was like, okay, this is just what I'm used to. Like, yeah, it's faster, but also the animations from the menus make it feel slower than it actually is, like just navigating through the menus. I played a few games on it. Like I downloaded Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then I can't remember what else. I think I might have downloaded Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, but and I was dabbling around with it, and I was like, man, I really want an experience that was tailor made for the system to show off what it can do, but that doesn't really exist yet on the Xbox side because they're just behind on games right now. And Halo Infinite getting delayed, which it seems like it's for the better. I heard some good things about the beta. I saw some gameplay of it, and it looks like it's going to be really good, but that was supposed to be like the launch title with the system to kind of show off what it could do. And when I got the PS5, immediately I started playing Astrobot, which it's not my favorite game. It's a cool experience. I mean, it's free. It comes with a system. Not really comes with it, but it's a free game you could just download. And it was pretty fun, but it did a really good job of showing off what the controller could do and how fast the load times were. And then I beat both Spider-Man games, which I hadn't played either one before, really. I played like the first Spider-Man on PS4 for like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is okay. I'll come back to it on PS5, because by the time I played it, PS5 was already announced. So, but yeah, those experiences, even though like the original Spider-Man was just a remaster of a PS4 game, like the new load times kind of blew me away. And then, of course, on top of that, them being like good games in general, I just had a lot of fun with them. And then, right when I was about to finish Miles Morales, then the Final Fantasy VII Remake PS5 edition dropped, which again, phenomenal load times. Like I could literally get into the game like from booting up the system in like 15 seconds, and it just made it a lot easier to play. And so I just been going through playing a bunch of PS4 games. I just finished Final Fantasy VII Remake like a week ago. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna buy the DLC or not. I'm not sure. But yeah, I've been like I got the Xbox, I booted it up, and I was like, this is cool, I guess. And then I went back to PS5 because I was just in the middle of so many games. So that's why I haven't done the Xbox video. Not saying that it's a bad system, but I'm just really at this point I'm waiting for Infinite like to really test out what it could do, because I tried and I downloaded Medium too, but that game really didn't grab me at all. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see with the Xbox, and I don't feel like doing a video about it now and saying that it's like bad, because it's not bad. It's just I haven't really played it. Like doing a video on it now, I don't really have much to say about it because I haven't spent that much time with it, other than to complain that the interface is the same as the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One X and One S, and I thought the interface was bad on that console, so I was hoping they did something different. I know that they were working on like a new interface to get away from this Windows 8 based one, but yeah, it needs to come fast because the interface is really bad. And I don't know. I don't even know who told them that doing tiles in general, like around that Windows 8 time, was a good idea. But someone should have just slapped them. Like as soon as someone walked in, like if I was the CEO of Microsoft and someone was like, look, I got this idea, we're going to do tiles, I would have just been like, you know what? Just automatic backhand and get out of my office. Just nope. Nope. And we mostly got rid of the tiles except for on the Xbox. Tiles need to go. Sorry, they need to go. Tired of it. Tired of these tiles. But yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. But right now, I think launch wise, PS5 got it right game wise, but also as far as features, the Xbox got it right. Like they didn't have the issues with having like an Xbox One version or a Series X version in the game store. You just downloaded the game and it downloaded the right version like Sony has, and then also the whole storage upgrade thing with Sony is kind of a mess. So there's some things that Microsoft did right. It's just that they didn't have any games available and they desperately need an interface makeover. All right, but moving on from that, what else do I want to talk about today? This is a good time as any to do a personal update, because the way my videos are structured, I never really get to talk about things that happen and go on in my life ever. So basically, you know, we was all home. Well, I hope you're home. Like during COVID last year, the job I had at the time, keyword at the time, we all transitioned to work from home because I was doing over the phone support, and done over the phone support for 6 years. And then, you know, it came home with me, and it was really difficult. It was a difficult transition. But I took the opportunity to, with everything going on, to kind of get out of phone support. So in February, I found a job doing IT, and basically I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. I'm doing automations, just everything like network administrator, system administrator, like everything IT wise in the company is basically handled by two people. So, and training for some reason. But it's been a really cool experience. Like I've learned a lot since I've been there in February, probably more than I've learned in the last 6 years of working in, you know, support. So it's really cool, but it's also like round trip wise, it's an 80-mile drive every day. And then traffic going home is really bad. It takes like 2 hours usually to get home just because of how bad the traffic is. Like without any traffic, it'd probably be like 45 minutes to an hour, but then with the traffic it's like 2 hours. So it's just left me a lot less time to do videos. Like I already knew today, I was like, I'm just gonna do this live stream to talk about the Samsung stuff. Normally I would like to have like a well put together video, and then splicing the little cuts of the page scrolling through. But I knew I wasn't gonna have time for it today because the event was on Wednesday. If it was on Tuesday, I could have squeezed it out. Like what I've been doing usually is if it's a last minute video, this Tuesday I come home. Usually, like I get home around 7 p.m. and then I record the video and I'm editing usually till like 1 a.m. and then I get back up at 5 a.m. to go to work. So it's been crazy, but YouTube is still like a high priority for me. So I just don't want it to fall by the wayside, even with my job opportunities coming up. So I work hard to bring y'all this content, even when I'm being stupid on this live stream and have audio issues because I didn't test enough before I started. And I was sitting here for like an hour just preparing, and I didn't want to because you can start the stream in OBS and it doesn't actually go live until you hit go live on YouTube. But I was like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't want to go live early, so I didn't do any testing with the audio, and then I made some stupid setting choices. But that's life. That's the mic texted out life, and that's what happens when you only do live streams like twice a year. Even though the last two I did, which there only have been two, were seamless as far as the setup. And then I also wanted to test this new angle from my desk so that way I could be like right in front of my computer. So yeah, but I got off the topic. But yeah, basically I have a new job. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, it's been a little bit stressful because like you're learning a new job, then plus the travel time, and then plus getting the YouTube stuff started. So bottom line is what I'm trying to say is there might be more live streams coming in the in the future. Actually, when I did my live stream at the beginning of the year, because I usually do like my anniversary or whatever, I don't know if I mentioned it on stream, but like my original plan was to do like one live stream a month, and then I just never did because I had so many like video ideas, and obviously like I'd usually do 2 videos a week. So I was like, I got to do this video and this video and this video. And there was just like so many things that were just popping off as far as videos. Like I actually skipped some videos because I ran out of time. Just with everything, because I got a bunch of new stuff this year. Of course, the last thing being the iPad. But now I'm officially broke. There ain't going to be no new stuff coming in. But yeah. I have all kinds of video ideas, so I got to figure out how I'm going to work the live stream into my schedule. But I think like one Wednesday out of the month would probably be good. And that would also give me some time to work on some other videos. Like the benefit of being home for COVID was for when I wasn't driving to work. So like I had all this time to like work on and concept like a lot of my favorite videos that came out last year. But yeah, with this job, I just haven't had as much time. So it's been sad. It's been really sad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about after I just brought everybody down with my mood. I'm sorry. I'm usually classy. But yeah, I think that's it. Unless I want to talk about this weird Apple privacy stuff, but it's Freedom Arts said you're buying something new. So no, what the people who watch my channel know that I rarely ever buy new tech products. Like it's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. If I say I'm not gonna upgrade, then I'm not gonna upgrade. Oh, Freedom Arts wants me to talk about Metroid Dread. I don't really have any strong opinions on it. I never really played Metroid like that. I played the little demo that came with the original DS, and I think I played some of the GPA ones, but I never really got into it. It does look interesting, but I don't have to wait until I see some more gameplay to decide if I'm going to buy it or not. Actually, that reminds me. So the arcade thing I built actually did put some Metroid up there. So I went back and played Super Metroid, and I was like, wow, this game is actually really good. I can see why people like it so much. I did play I played one of the original Game Boy ones, back when it wasn't even in color. And I remember I used to love that game. I don't remember it might have been Metroid 2. I can't remember which one that was on Game Boy, but I do kind of. So I do have a little bit of a history with Metroid, but like most of it was before I could remember stuff. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Like if I can't remember stuff, like I can't, say I'm a fan of the game or not. But a lot of people seem excited for it. And I think it's coming at the right time for Nintendo because they got the new OLED Switch, plus they got that launch, and I think it's going to sell gangbusters. Of course, I'm still waiting for the Steam Deck, which my pre-order still says Q2 2022, so I'm not getting it anytime soon. But there was also videos going on about, or that a lot of people got their hands on with the Stream Deck. The Steam Deck. I keep saying, I have a Stream Deck right here. I don't want to accidentally hit something, but I actually have an Elgato Stream Deck, and now like this is just throwing this. The name threw me off. Like this has been called the Steam Deck forever, and Valve just comes in with the Steam Deck, and I keep confusing the two. But yeah, I mean, it kind of like when I saw the hands-on, cause I watched like a few of them. I watched one on Giant Bomb, and I watched the Linus Tech Tips ones. I watched a bunch of the IGN coverage because, unfortunately, since it's not one of those things that I'll ever get my hands on, I'm just gonna have to wait. And until then, I'm gonna watch other people's videos and see what it's like, just to see like that thing in action. And it really is like a mini PC. I mean, obviously, I expected it to be that, but yeah, it seems like it's a really capable computer, especially starting off at $400. Like, I'm super excited. I can't wait till I get mine to really try it. And I love handheld gaming, and just to be able to play some of my Steam games on the go, I'm super excited about it. Freedom Arts. Super Metroid is literally the best 2D Metroid. And if you played Metroid 2 Return of Samus, or you played Metroid 2 Return of Samus on the GBA. No, I didn't play the updated one. I played like on the original Game Boy. Like, I think it was like, it might have been Metroid 2. I have a computer. I can Google stuff. What was it? Which Metroid was on the Game Boy? Metroid Game Boy. Oh, you know what? You was right. It was Metroid 2 Return to Samus. But it was like, not, you said GBH, so that threw me off. But yeah, it was like on the regular Game Boy. It was, ugh. Blah. The graphics. The graphics were terrible. I love the Game Boy though. That was like my favorite. Tetris is one of the best games of all time. Like Tetris really like, I don't know. I always turn up with some Tetris. All right. The sound when it would do like the little weird thing where it sounded like the game was crashing, like when you get a Tetris. I was like, is the game breaking? What's going on? I thought the game was literally breaking, and then my friend explained to me that that's the sound when you get a Tetris, because I didn't know what a Tetris was at the time, and I was like, oh, ew, that sounds gross. I don't know why they made the sound so gross, but yeah. Anyway, back to the Steam Deck. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think that just having a PC that cheap, like a dedicated little gaming PC that can actually play some AAA games. Obviously, you have to have your expectations in line. You're not gonna be running at max settings with like ray tracing on. You're literally gonna catch that thing on fire. I'm like, what are you doing? It's gonna catch on fire. Might be doing some medium and low settings, but it seems like it can run a lot. Like I saw them playing Doom up there. I mean, Doom literally runs on everything, but still, it was impressive. I was impressed. I guess the other thing I could touch on too, I did the video, the over dramatic video about me like not using Amazon's products anymore after they tried to enable this feature that automatically shares your Wi-Fi and creates a network for them, and I was uncomfortable with it. So that was a whole thing. So yes, I have transitioned fully. Well, I already transitioned by the time the video was being recorded. But yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been like maybe like 2 months since I dumped all the Echoes, and I had Echoes, I think, going back to like 2016. So it was a while, and like now we're just using the HomePods, and it doesn't matter that much. I think at the beginning of like the smart home boom, like I wanted everything to be smart, like, and I do have a lot of devices that are smart that I can't use now, like my vacuums, for instance. I can't voice command them to start because the HomePod doesn't support that. But when would I realistically ever use that? Like, they're both on a schedule, they just run. So there was just like a lot of things that like I was like, it's kind of cool that you can do that, but realistically, I'm never going to use it. So I've just gotten used to like the stuff that the HomePod does, and it just does a way better job than what the Echoes did as far as recognizing me, and then the speed of which it executes the tasks. It's crazy. So yeah, but yeah, I also wanted to clarify with that too. I didn't cancel like my Prime subscription or anything because I'm not insane. I just don't want any of their like the products that they make that connect to the internet in my house. I actually stopped buying their cables a few years ago, like just their cables and accessories and stuff that they make, because I bought like probably like 3 or 4 micro USB cables from them just to have to charge like PlayStation controllers, and they all died within like a year. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm not buying any more of their cables or anything because they're such low quality. And then of course there was that whole thing where they had issues with stuff catching on fire, including cables. I think those are mainly USB-C cables, but I had already made up my mind on that stuff a while ago. And then the Echo was like my last hold off because there were certain things that I liked having that only worked with, the A word or with Google Assistant. And I didn't want to go back to Google Assistant, so I was like, well, I might as well just stay with the Echo. But yeah, it's been fine. I think like if you first get into the smart home stuff, you're gonna want to try a bunch of stuff, and then eventually just settle on the stuff that's important. Like to me, the lights are important. Like being able to turn the lights on and off are like the most useful things that these things can really do. That's actually better than the way it was before. Because like if I'm leaving the house, I can just say turn off all the lights, or I can turn on lights in a specific room before I'm home, and it makes it a lot easier. And then also being able to lock the door is kind of useful just because sometimes I forget and I can just tell it to lock the door. But those are like the two main things. I don't even use the thermostat, honestly. Like technically I can set the temperature, and I'm like, I don't change the temperature that much. And when I do, I just go on my phone and change it. So yeah, the smart home stuff is cool. But yeah, just you gotta have to watch yourself. And there's been also issues with devices, being exploited to access people's networks. So it's cool, but it can also be a little bit dangerous, especially when you have those like cheaper devices on Amazon. It's like, oh, there's this $5 light strip that works with the Echo, and it's a smart one. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of data they're looking for if it's on your network. So you gotta watch yourself. But yeah, my Echo Free Life, pretty good. Doesn't actually matter that much. Unless you have very specific equipment that you're like hanging on to that you need, like that only works with like the Echo, and you need it. I say you're probably fine with the HomePod. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We saw the Tom Brown edition of the Z Fold 2. I know y'all are getting y'all pre-orders in right now. They made it affordable, only like $3,500. It's not too bad. Talked about the Xbox and the interface. Talked about my career change, doing IT for real, and the Echo stuff and Metroid for some reason, and the Steam Deck. We talked about a lot of stuff today, but I think I'm gonna bring this stream to a close, and then once it goes up, I'm gonna edit out the first like 10 minutes because I'm pretty sure my microphone wasn't working. But it's been real, y'all. It's been real. So I'm bringing this live stream to a close. I can't even do my regular closing. It doesn't work on a live stream. Because I can't say if you enjoyed this video, because what if you just came in now and you'd be like, I don't know if I enjoyed it or not, and you just start yelling at the screen like, look, dog, look, this is a live stream. Stop yelling at me. If you're gonna yell in the chat. So I guess what I'm saying is, remember to always do at least 2 things at the same time. Like watch this live stream and watch one of my other videos at the same time. Let's get that algorithm. Let's get it popping in my favor. Get it popping. All right, I'm out.